friends, welcome back to Crafter Support. Today I'm going to share with you more information about your Cricut Joy and your Cricut Joy Extra. So one thing I made for you guys is a printable. Now I've highlighted some things on mine, but that's just for my personal use. But this is all of the material that your Cricut Joy and your Cricut Joy Extra can cut, and it's labeled for which machine it is. So we have one page with your Cricut Joy, and then 2 pages of what the Joy Extra can cut. These are free printables. I'll have them linked down below. If you didn't get last week's, they are right underneath here. And they are the 10 tools to help you master your Cricut Joy and your Cricut Joy Extra. So definitely, if you didn't get these, go ahead and I'll put links to everything below. You can go check it out. And let's get started talking about the different materials that you have for your Cricut Joy and your Joy Extra. The first thing I want to talk about is your pens. And the reason I think it's important to talk about your pens is because there's so many different kinds that they have, but the Joy pens and the Joy Extra pens are different than the pens you use in your larger machines. So when you purchase anything for your Cricut Joy or your Joy Extra, it has to say Cricut Joy on them. That means it works in both machines. So if you have a Cricut Joy and the Joy Extra, you're going to use the same pens in either machine. So this is just a set of the gel pens, and I have a small set of those. I don't use the gel pens a whole lot, but they are nice to have whenever you're making a fancy card or perhaps you're making a poster or something. They're nice to have for different projects like that. The other set that I have that I do use are the infusible ink markers. These are a special type of ink that you use on paper, and then you use excessive heat, pressure, and time. And this is permanent, like a very permanent infusible ink is permanent. It's infused directly into the polyester material that you press it into. And we're going to be going over that too. Today is going over materials. Next week, we will be actually cutting with our machine. I know you guys have been really wanting to get started with that, but I want to make sure that you understand the process and the materials. The process and the materials before we jump into just cutting, because there's a lot I think that you need to know so that you get the best experience with your machines. Okay, so the next thing we have are the glitter gel pens. These I use a lot too whenever I'm making cards. I love using the glitter pens. They just add that extra special touch. I have a few colors here. There are so many colors out there. I highly recommend that you check out, I'll put a link below to Cricut.com. They have a ton of pens and they're usually on sale. Like, they have great sales on their online store, and I love to share that with you guys. So definitely check out online, and you can get so many different pens. Now, the one pen set that I have not yet used that I did purchase is the watercolors. I'm really excited about these. I have not had time to use them. But it comes with the water pen. So you fill this with water, and then it has a paint tip on the end. Let me see if I can do this without tearing the whole thing apart. There we go. So it's just a little paintbrush on the end. It's like a hard brush, but your machine draws with these, and then you just have the water in here. You squeeze the water out, and then you can paint with it. Really cool. I've seen a lot of videos on it. I just haven't got to try it yet, which I'm going to do for you guys here in a couple videos. So definitely check these out. You do want to use watercolor paper, which that's another product that Stampin' Up! Has to make cards with, or if you just want to do watercolors with, you can absolutely do that with these. So now the next thing that I want to talk about that I haven't really mentioned before are the foil transfer sheets. So Cricut has a way to do foiling, and this is an example of that here. So it's basically, you purchase this tool, and it's not a blade. It doesn't cut. You lay your foil over top of your paper, you pick out your design, and then it foil transfers it onto your paper. You can do this with cards. You can do this with posters. You can do it with pretty much anything you want to decorate with foil. You can do that. So again, this can be used on your Cricut Joy or the Cricut Joy Extra. So it's all the tools that are made for the Cricut Joy are also compatible with the Joy Extra. So these are a great way to kind of fancy up your cards. And this one is like a 4th of July birthday one. And it just has all of the little sparklers and then the cupcake liners. So cute. Love it. Okay, so that's the foil transfer. Then they have their cards. So this is what these look like before you put them in your machine and cut them. This is where you're going to use your mat for your card making mat, and we're going to go over that. And it just cuts everything for you, and you slide your paper in behind, and they turn out so cute. So I want you to know you can cut many different brands of cardstock. You guys know my absolute favorite brand of cardstock is Stampin' Up. I can put a link to that below, but you can cut any brand. You don't only have to use Cricut brand in your Joy and your Joy Extra. Okay, so here's one where I did foiling. This is a Santa one, and it turned out so cute. And then this is a Christmas in July one that I did the foil paper in instead of foiling with a tool. And their cards come out so adorable. And these cards can be made straight from Design Space. The other thing about that is Design Space is absolutely free. You don't have to pay for Design Space. I just want to be clear on that because next week we're going to be diving into you actually creating projects and making projects from Design Space. And some people think you need to pay for that. It's free. That software is free for you. When you buy your machine, you can download it. You could actually download it before you buy your machine, but you can download the app and you can mess around on it. You just can't cut anything unless your machine is hooked up to it. And there is a subscription. The subscription to me is totally worth it. Your first month is free when you sign up, when you first sign on with your new machine. I highly recommend you get it. It's worth, I think it's like $10 a month. It's totally worth it. You get to use any design they have on there that has an A on it, and we'll go through that next week. But I wanted to let you know I think it's so worth it if you're a beginner, because they make projects so easy for you to it walks you step by step through all these different projects, and it's not so overwhelming. So you could make this card the first time you start your machine. It's that simple. You don't have to do anything amazing. Cricut does everything for you. So I do recommend Cricut Design Space. Yes, it costs a little bit of money, but it's so worth it in the end, especially if you don't have it and you're going in and you find a font you like, then you have to at the end pay for it, and it all adds up. There's a lot of perks with being a member of Cricut Access is what it's actually called. And you get $10 every quarter to just go online and make a purchase. So like you essentially get 4 months free because you're getting $10 in free products just by ordering and free shipping from Cricut each quarter. So it's definitely something to think about. I only recommend it because I use it, and that's something that I love having. I don't have to worry if I have to pay at the end or if something's not going to work for me. You get a lot of the perks like using Create Sticker and background removal. Things like that come with your Access membership. So definitely to make cards and things like that, you'll want that. These are the cutaway cards. This came in a Cricut mystery box. So Cricut does mystery boxes usually monthly, not always, but usually monthly. And they give you samples and sometimes full amounts of like material for you to try and use. And it's so worth it if you're starting out, like trying to build supplies. I used to get them all the time, but now I have so much, I don't always get them because I have nowhere to put the stuff. So I got this set, like I said, from one of the boxes, and everything you need to make are 10 size cards. And there's got to be like a minimum of 2, 4, 6, 8, 16 cards in here. So that's definitely worth it. And you get some great stuff in their mystery boxes if you haven't checked those out yet. Okay, so now these are pretty much the basic materials that you'll be working with besides cardstock. But these are the materials you're going to be working with. You can also cut, before I jump into these, I don't want to forget, you can also cut sticker paper on your Cricut Joy and your Cricut Joy Extra. However, you can only print from your printer and then cut on your Cricut Joy Xtra. Your Cricut Joy is not compatible with making the printables. Just so you know that offhand, you cannot print and then cut with your Cricut Joy. Only the Cricut Joy Xtra is compatible for that. But you do need a printer. I hear some people say like, oh, you can, print from your Cricut, and that's not true. You cannot print from your Cricut. It's only a cutting, scoring machine. It does not print anything out. So just to be clear on that. Okay, so now that we went over these, let me move that out of the way. All right, so now we have our basic materials that we cut. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the smart vinyl. Great thing about Cricut is smart vinyl you don't need a mat for. However, if you want to buy a different brand of vinyl, you can, and you can cut it with a mat. So both of your machines, any of Cricut machines, you can cut any brand's product on a Cricut mat. You don't have to have the smart material. I think the smart material is amazing if you're making multiple of the same project, because it can cut so many feet long, and you just push it into the machine, it pulls it in, it measures it, and then it just does all the cutting, and you don't have to keep changing mats. That's amazing, especially when, like I said, you're making a lot of the same project, but you don't have to. The other thing about using smart material is once it gets so small, you can't use it matless. You still need a mat to use like the end pieces that are like 3 inches. That's where you're going to want to have a mat, because you don't want to waste all this material. What I do is I keep these like scrapbook pages, and I fill it with all of my scrap vinyl, including if I have pieces left over from my smart material, and I just put them in by colors, and I save all of my scraps. And you would be amazed at all of the things I have made and still have a ton of scraps. And I just keep them in a clear bin, and anytime I need them, I pull them out before I go to my big rolls of vinyl, because you don't always need a huge piece of material, right? So definitely have a scrap container. If you just want to start yours off with a little Ziploc baggie, that's fine. Once you get a lot, you can start separating them, but you can just take this and stick it right on your mat, and you're good to cut. So that is for your smart permanent vinyl. So, and I'll show you guys, they also have it for your Cricut Joy. So obviously it's just a little bit bigger. You don't need a mat for it. Okay, so when you're using the smart, or any, let me be clear, any permanent or removable vinyl, you need transfer tape. So again, you don't have to use Cricut transfer tape. I recommend using the brand that you have, but you don't have to. Some people hate the Cricut transfer tape. I love it. But you can use another brand of transfer tape if you wish. This I got off of Amazon. If I can find the link, I will definitely put it down below. But there's like a multitude of different brands you can try and see what you like best. I am a person of brand for brand. And what that means is if Cricut makes the vinyl, I want to use the Cricut transfer tape to transfer it, because it was made specifically for the brand that they have. I'm the same way with paper. When I use cutting tools, I'm like that with Stampin' Up. I use my Stampin' Up trimmer for my Stampin' Up paper. I use my Cricut trimmer for my Cricut paper. It's just, I believe that the brands are specifically made for the material that they sell. So there is one thing to know about Cricut transfer tape. This is the strong grip. It's like a purple. You do not want to use this on regular vinyl. So you would not want to use this on regular permanent vinyl. The strong grip is usually only used for glitter, for the glitter vinyl, because it's so sticky and tacky that it'll tear it can tear your project, or you'll have a lot of trouble removing it. The other transfer tape, it just says Cricut transfer tape. I do not have any of that on hand right now, do I? I do. That's not true. Okay, so this is the transfer tape in the Cricut Joy size, the Joy Extra size, and if you can see the difference. So the strong grip is purple. The regular Cricut transfer tape is like a grayish brown. So make sure whenever you're purchasing, you know what one you need. Strong Grip is for glitter. And actually when you buy the glitter iron-on, the glitter permanent vinyl, it usually comes with its own transfer tape right inside. So that's always something you need to look for to make sure you may not have to go purchase it. Read the back of the box, see if it comes with it, and then you'll know. All right, so these are the two transfer tapes. This is what you need to take it. See how it's showing you on the cup. You take it from the backing of this and you put it onto your design. And again, next week we're going to be using regular vinyl, which is permanent. There's removable, and we're going to be doing a glitter vinyl, and we're going to be doing iron-on, also known as HTV, which we'll jump into that right now. So Cricut has their own name for HTV or heat transfer vinyl. They call it iron-on. Other companies like Caesar and other brands out there, they call it HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl. They are the exact same. They are the same thing. Cricut just has the name different, and I get it. That's their way of kind of like secluding themselves from everybody else's brand, and I love it. I love that Cricut does things like that, like they make it their brand. It just makes sense. They're a company that's trying to build exclusivity to their product, and I'm all for that. Like I said, you guys know I'm a brand person. I like how things are branded, and the prices are not terrible when it comes, especially like how they could be for smart material. Just because of the backing paper alone, it could be a lot more expensive. I think it's a great price. The other brand I love is Caesar brand. It's Siser, I believe. And I use a ton of that as well. It is usually a little bit less expensive, but I usually have to order that. So here's your option for iron-on. Again, it's called HTV. So this is the material that you put on clothing, shoes. You can put this on wood. You can put it on curtains, like any type of fabric. So this is the one you're probably going to use the most if you're looking to do t-shirts and things like that. So they're both available, and there's so many different kinds. That sheet that I have for you guys to print out will tell you all the different kinds you can get. This is the glitter. This is your regular. See how it says heat transfer vinyl, iron-on. So these are the different names. So if you're confused, you know. This is the matte version. This is the glitter version. Your Joy Extra and your Joy. So again, you do not need to use smart vinyl. You can use anything on your mats to cut out with your machine. Okay, so the next thing we have is writable vinyl. So this is where you would get your pens out. And if you were, say, trying to, which we're going to do on Crafter Support, we're going to be doing eventually an entire craft room of organization. And I'm going to be using the writable vinyl to make a lot of my labels and things. So it'll show right here, this is where you need a pen, and we can write with either one of the machines. And it's called Smart Label Writable Vinyl. So this is really cool stuff. Then the next thing we have is infusible ink. Now, infusible ink, to be clear, can only be pressed into something that has a high content of polyester. It cannot be used on cotton. There are tricks to it, and I have videos on that, but the main thing, it has to be on a high polyester count. They have this for the Cricut Joy, the Cricut Joy Extra. They have it for all the machines above. And again, you do not need to buy the smart material. You can purchase your own, especially if you guys go to Hobby Lobby, they have a lot of sales, like really great sales for the infusible ink. I don't know why I find it there all the time though, really inexpensive. And you can use that for any project that has the high polyester count, and they have it on sale. You can get it for like $3 or $4. So I highly recommend that you check that out. And Cricut.com has a lot of sales on it where you can get it in bulk. You can get a bunch of different colors. There's different sets you can purchase. So if you're really into the infusible ink, which is 100% permanent, the actual material that you put it on is going to be destroyed before the color of your infusible ink comes out, because it's a science thing. So like infusible ink is special ink printed on special paper, which is right here, and you put it on a high polyester count. You have to use the right amount of heat, pressure, and time, and it infuses in. So it skips, like it goes from your dry state, so your solid state, it skips the liquid state and infuses into the fabric that you're putting on. So it turns into a gas and infuses in. It's so cool, guys. I love it. I'll link videos. I have it below, and it's a really fun way to make some really cool projects. So the other thing that they have is sublimation. I'm working on trying to find space for a sublimation machine. I used to have one. I want to get another one. And sublimation is very similar to infusible ink. Again, Cricut just pre-prints the colors for you, and you can make whatever you want with it. Where sublimation, you can print out things like pictures and designs from a printer with sublimation ink, and you can make like photos, things like that, to put on high polyester count shirts and things. So the last piece we're going to go over is decorative vinyl. So this is vinyl that you can get that is, it already has a design on it. And this is just iron-on vinyl, and you can use any brand of this as well. You don't have to just use the Cricut brand. I want to show you this. I pulled this particular one because I want you to see the discoloration of this. Now, this has been in my craft room for probably 2.5 years. Vinyl does have a shelf life. So, but I can't give you an exact time frame of when it's good. One, we don't know how long it's been on the shelf. Two, we don't know how long, it has been since it was made, but how you store it at home is going to really matter how long it lasts for you. So depending on if there's moisture, if it gets super hot, or if it gets really cold, that's going to affect the life of your vinyl. So if you're somebody who does this just for fun, I do not suggest you get a ton of vinyl all at once. Try to go with just the projects you're working on, and then keep your scraps to make smaller projects. But because if you don't know how long it's going to be before you're using something, it's going to go bad before you use it. Now, when I say it's going to go bad, I would say that I've had some of this vinyl for 3 years, and it gets cold where mine is stored. It gets very cold, and then it gets very warm in the summer. So I have to be careful. And how you know if your vinyl is going to be good or not is you have to do a test. So say you were going to be making a shirt as a gift for somebody, and your vinyl looks like this. Well, for one, I probably wouldn't do that. But if you only had what you needed, I would cut a little test cut. So cut a little square, press it onto, say, the same kind of fabric you're going to be using, the material, and then wait 2 days, wash it, and see how it comes out. And if it stays on and it looks good, it's not faded or anything, then I would go ahead with your project. But especially if it's a gift, I would definitely make sure you do a test first. I'm not sure if this is going to hold or not. I'm going to try a project with it just to see, because I have quite a few that I've had for the same amount of time as this, and I may have to get rid of all of it. But I want to double check before I just pitch it, because it costs money and I don't want to waste it. But I am going to suggest that if you're, like I said, if you're not sure how much you're going to be using, don't go buy a ton of it if you're just going to store it away. Or if you're storing it away, make sure it's in an area that you can keep temperature control on it so that it stays the best it can stay for as long as possible. All right, guys, that was it for today. I hope you got a good rundown of all of the different materials, and you can do felt, you can do fabric. There's so much more, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I want you to learn in baby steps and be able to pick and choose what materials you feel you're going to work with the most, and then we'll go from there. But like I said, next week we're going to be making a project with our smart vinyl and regular vinyl. We're going to be doing some iron-on and some regular HTV from a different company, so you can see the difference. And we're going to be doing a card. And with the card, we're going to be using our card mat. So let me show you those. So I showed these last week, but I just want to be clear. So this is the card mat for the Joy Xtra. and this is the card mat for the Cricut Joy. So I'm going to show you guys how to use these as well, because I know a lot of you came back to me with the information that you want to make cards, and that's why you bought your Cricut Joy or your Cricut Joy Extra. So I want to focus on the things you guys really want to make, but I also want to be there for the people that want to be doing t-shirts, and I think can koozies was the other one they were asking about. So I want to be able to give you guys all that information as well. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to go and get your free printables, and you can put them, like, punch holes in them and make yourself a little binder. This is going to give you all the information you need for all the material, all the tools, and I hope you guys are enjoying this. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.